week 2 of this new series on my channel called We Don't Know Who She Is. But it's okay, I'm wearing a Gundam shirt. She's not totally new. She is a little old. Well, she's very old. She's 32. Let's just get on with it. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should, because I talk about geeky things, and today we're going to talk about anime. Again, finally, for the first time in forever. Let's all break out in a song. I think starting this week, I'm going to make a Disney reference in every single video. For the first time in forever. Okay, moving on. So I've talked about how I got into anime before. I've talked about how I got back into anime before. I've talked about my top 10 favorite anime before, all of which will be linked at the end of this video for you guys to view if you so desire. I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through my time of liking anime and talk about each of my favorite anime series in my time of liking anime. And I don't know why. I just thought it'd be fun to do. So let's just do it. And you know what? I'm gonna make it kind of like a tag, because I just watched a tag video. Are tags still a thing we're doing these days? If they are, then I'm going to tag Dylan and Melissa and Kay and Kao-chan and Matt. I don't know who she is anymore. So as you guys are well aware, if you guys have been watching my channel for a decent amount of time, especially because I just talked about it like about a year ago, I got into anime when I was 16 years old. My best friend from high school got me into anime by making me watch Gundam Wing. But it didn't really start there. It did start there. Like, my love for anime started there. Because I had gotten into Pokemon, but I didn't like anime. I liked Pokemon. And I got into Digimon, but I liked Digimon. I didn't like anime. And then I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! But I didn't like anime. It wasn't until I watched Gundam Wing where I was like, okay, I like anime. I don't know what changed, but apparently a lot changed in my head. But believe it or not, Gundam Wing wasn't my favorite anime right away. It actually was my favorite anime eventually, but it was my third favorite anime. My third favorite anime. Not my third favorite anime, but my third favorite anime. I am confusing myself, guys. So when I first got into anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was still my favorite television show, so I just immediately decided that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was my favorite anime series along with that. I eventually got into Inuyasha very, very quickly, actually. I got into Inuyasha. And within like 6 months of getting into anime, I was like having this inner turmoil of whether or not Inuyasha or Yu-Gi-Oh! Was my favorite anime. And to a 16-year-old who is already ridiculously hormonal, this was a big deal to me. I'm not even kidding. Like, this was a big deal. I actually would have dreams about it. I remember specifically there was this one dream that I had where I was sitting around a campfire with the characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! And they slowly changed into the characters of Inuyasha. So, like, I would sit around there, and all of a sudden Yugi would all of a sudden turn into Inuyasha, and Joey turned into Moroku, and Taya turned into Kagome. It was very strange. I think Mai turned into Sango. I can't remember exactly everything, but I just remember the existence that was that dream. And it was just normal. It wasn't like, holy shit, what just happened? It was like, oh, okay. But it was my brain being like, hey, so just so you know, you like Inuyasha a little bit better than you like Yu-Gi-Oh! But I couldn't let myself change how I felt. And this would happen again, not as dramatically, but this would happen again later, and we'll get to that. So I settled on the idea that Yu-Gi-Oh! Was my favorite TV show, but Inuyasha was my favorite anime. And my friends would be so confused about that because they were like, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an anime. So if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! As your favorite television show, then you have to also like Yu-Gi-Oh! As an anime more than Inuyasha. And I'm like, no, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so Americanized that we can discount it. It doesn't have to be an anime. It can be just a cartoon. 16-year-old me. What? But this was really how I felt about life back then. This is just how I handled life. And I still sometimes do. Random justifications that I don't actually need to make. So eventually I gave in, and I allowed Inuyasha to be my favorite anime series, or my favorite anime of all time. So Gundam Wing was my third favorite anime series. Let's not start this again! It was my favorite anime series the third time I had a favorite anime series. And for Gundam Wing, I think it was just because it was what really got me into anime and I really loved it. But it became very apparent to me that it was my favorite anime series because of the fact that when I got the whole series on DVD, I watched it by myself the first time through. The second time through I watched it, Nikki came over and we literally stayed up all night watching it. We took a half-an-hour break to watch Trigun, and then we took a 2-hour break to sleep after we both stayed up for a full 24 hours watching this dang show. And then we got up and watched the rest of it. And then we were thinking, we're going to watch Endless Waltz, or am I going to drive you home and we can watch Endless Waltz on our own time? And we both decided we're going to watch Endless Waltz on our own time. I don't know if she watched Endless Waltz that day. I did. I got home and I watched Endless Waltz. And then, to add on top of that, I got into this weird habit of watching just 3 different storylines from Gundam Wing every day. So, one storyline a day. So it was the first disc of Gundam Wing. Then it was the 0 episodes. And then it was Endless Waltz. And I would do that. So Monday was this, Tuesday was this, Thursday or Wednesday was this, so on and so forth. And I did that every single day for months. And I never got sick of it. I finally did eventually get sick of the first disc, so it would just turn into the 0 episodes and Endless Waltz for a very long time. And it was about that time period where I was like, okay, this is my favorite anime series, because I'd rather watch this than anything else. And that's how I pick my favorite when it comes to television or movies or any kind of medium where you're watching it. It's, would I rather watch this or this? And this becomes important. Would I rather watch this or would I rather watch this? And that's kind of how I decide what my favorite thing is ever. And at that point in time, I realized that Gundam Wing is the one thing I would rather watch than anything else in the world. Which then was eventually overtaken by Trigun. So Trigun and I have a very interesting relationship as well. It's very normal for me to have a very interesting relationship with the anime that I love, just because in a lot of situations, either it's a social commentary about life, or I relate to characters. It's why I hated Catcher through all of high school. I hated Catcher through all of high school because I saw all of the things I hated about myself in him. I had terrible self-esteem in high school. And so I really just couldn't stand seeing Catra be the things that I hate about myself. I would rather, much like Duo, who was the person I wanted to be when I was 15 years old. Who didn't want to be Duo when they were 15 years old? If you've ever watched Gundam Wing, that is the one character you want to be. But when it came to Trigun, it was kind of a similar situation where I related to Vash. And I'm not going to get super deep because this is like really dark. But you know how Vash is like super fun and outgoing, and then all of a sudden there's like this switch in him that makes him go dark. And that is very much me. I'm better about it these days, but when I was in high school, I didn't want people to know the real me. I didn't want people to know how dark I was. I didn't want people to know how depressed I was. I didn't want people to know how just down and everything I was. So I hid that behind this facade of somebody who just wanted to make everybody laugh. And for the most part, I succeeded. Some people, most people, a lot of people in high school thought I was just weird. And I was, but it was also because I was just having this internal struggle. So once I was able to kind of accept the things about Vash that were like me, I really started to get into Trigun more than I had before. It also helped that Johnny Young Bosch played, Vash, and he was the Black Power Ranger when I was a kid. Actually, I think he was the Black Power Ranger when they dubbed it. It just took forever for Trigun to come out, if I remember correctly from what Jeff Nimoy told me. So that's a fun story. So I really got into Trigun, and Trigun became my favorite anime series until I gave up anime for Lent one year. My senior year of high school, I gave up anime for Lent. And I didn't really get back into it until I was going into my sophomore year of college. There was really no reason for that other than just the fact that I kind of lost interest because it was everything that was airing on TV was not stuff I was super interested in, plus it was expensive to buy the DVDs. So it just got to a point where anime just wasn't a thing I wanted to be involved with anymore. And I even remember, I found it actually recently, this book that I bought my senior year of high school. I paged through it, and it was a book that you would write in, like memory book, and one of them was, and the very front of it, and I wish I could remember where it is now, but if I did, I would show it to you, but I dedicated the book to Trigun because it was my favorite anime series when I gave up watching anime. I even remember doing this like MySpace survey at one point that asked the question, what is your favorite anime series? Or your favorite manga series, something like that. And I said, probably still Trigun. Because that was my last one before I gave up anime for a little while. Then Gundam Wing got me back into anime, but Gundam Wing didn't get to be my favorite anime series ever again, unfortunately. My favorite getting back into anime was actually one that I watched while I was in high school, which was Samurai Deeper Kyo. And I really loved that show. I haven't watched it in so long. I would probably still really like it, but I have some serious issues with that show. But I do still really like it. And I want to watch it again at some point. It'd be fun to sit down and watch it again. But I remember actually watching it all in one sitting, in one day, kind of like I did with Gundam Wing. It was a lot less troublesome to do it that way, because that one's only 26 episodes, where Gundam Wing is like 48, I think. It was dumb. Don't ever watch Gundam Wing in one sitting. Take it from me. I wouldn't be able to do it now, because I can't drink caffeine and I fall asleep at night, so I wouldn't be able to do it now, because I can't have the things that I drank to keep me awake back then. I can't do that anymore. I'm still really angry that I missed the resurgence of Surge because I couldn't have caffeine. That came back out for a limited time, like right when I couldn't drink caffeine anymore. That made me very angry. I was very upset about it. Samurai Deeper Kyo didn't stay my favorite anime for very long because I eventually got into Fullmetal Alchemist. I don't know if it was brand new still at the time or if it was the second time through on Adult Swim, but I got into Fullmetal Alchemist in 2007. And I fell in love with that show. It made me cry. It was very emotional. I was just very, very, very into it. That one didn't stay my favorite for very long either, because in 2008, I was introduced to Death Note. So I got into Death Note in 2008 when it first started airing on Adult Swim, and I fell in love with Death Note. It became my favorite anime series very, very quickly. I kind of dropped Fullmetal Alchemist completely off the list at some point. I don't know what happened to my love for that show. It disappeared completely. So Death Note came out and I fell in love with it. It was one of those shows where I was like, I like this. And this is what I want to watch every day for the rest of my life. Which is weird. Because for me, I can't watch Death Note a lot. I can't rewatch Death Note over and over and over again. When I watch Death Note, there has to be about a year in between me watching it and then watching it again, which I learned because when I finished the series and I started watching it immediately again after on the second viewing, I couldn't sit through it. I thought it was so boring that second time. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't like Death Note. But I couldn't get my head away from it. I couldn't get my mind off of Death Note. And so my mom decided she wanted to watch some anime. I said, let's try Death Note. And I loved it just as much as I loved it that first time, but it had been a couple of years. So I realized that I just need some time in between watchings of Death Note. And so I do that. And I give myself that time. And then eventually I'll watch it again and I love it just as much as I did the first time I ever watched it, even though I know exactly everything that happens. So, fun fact. So remember that story time I did about the friend that lived with me for a while, didn't pay her bills, blah, 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 blah. Here's another part of that story. She actually spoiled a death for me in Death Note, and I was so angry because one, I don't like spoilers, and two, part of the fun of watching Death Note the first time is going in knowing literally nothing. And that was what was so fun about watching Death Note. And she spoiled it. So angry about it. I am still angry about it. That was after she moved out. So then here's that time. Remember when I said that we were going to have that weird internal battle with myself again? Here it is. When I got into Gundam 00. So everybody knows that Gundam 00 is my favorite anime series. To this day, it is my favorite anime series. Has been since 2010. And so it's been the longest lasting favorite anime series that I've ever had, which is interesting because it used to change a lot when I was younger. But this time it has just maintained number one for the last 8 years. Almost 9 years. So with Gundam 00, it wasn't hard for me to like it better than Death Note. That didn't bother me. But what bothered me was liking Gundam 00 more than I liked Gundam Wing. So if you guys know anything about my history with Gundam, I liked Gundam Wing, and that was pretty much it. I didn't like any other Gundam series. I really didn't for the longest time. I tried them. I watched G Gundam. I watched Gundam Seed. Well, the half that they aired on Cartoon Network, I watched that. I didn't like really any other Gundam series until I watched Gundam 00, and then I went back and found the beauty in all of the other Gundam series. I don't know what Gundam 00 did to change me, but it changed me. I saw the clouds open up and the light from heaven shined I'm going to hell. So Gundam 00 changed me, and I had a hard time letting go of my love for Gundam Wing. And not that I had to let go of my love for Gundam Wing. I still love Gundam Wing. But my issue with allowing Gundam 00 to be my favorite anime series was I had to let go of some of that love for Gundam Wing. Because Gundam Wing would always stay as my favorite Gundam series. The only Gundam series I loved. My Gundam series. And if I like another Gundam series more, then I had to let go of some of that love, I guess. It's hard to explain what my brain did. But it was very hard for me to say, yes, I like Gundam 00 more than I like Gundam Wing. It took a long time. I mean, for crying out loud, I own 2 Gundam Wing shirts, and I don't own any Gundam 00 shirts. This shirt is too small for me anymore, because I've gained weight since I bought it. But I'm still wearing it for the video because I love Gundam Wing. But no, I really love Gundam Wing, and it was really hard for me to allow for Gundam 00 to be my favorite anime series, but eventually I got over it. And Gundam 00 has been my favorite anime series ever since. So there you have it, all of my favorite anime series. And if you guys, the people that I said at the beginning of this video, if you guys want to do the same thing, I think it's so much fun to go through and think about each time you change your favorite anime series and watch yourself grow through how your tastes have changed over the years. And I mean, sure, for me, it's been well over 10 years since I got into anime. So for me, it's maybe a little bit different. I was actually a teenager when I was into anime. I know that's not the case for like Melissa, for example. I think it'd be fun for you guys to do this video too, if you guys so desire. And let me know in the comments below your favorite anime series and what your favorite anime series have been since you got into anime. And if you want to do this video and I didn't say you should do it anyway, and tag me on Twitter or Facebook so I can see the video as well. And I hope to see you guys all next week. Bye-bye.